The Bears just revealed their secret weapon, and I'm going to get to exactly the details of this. It's pretty unusual, but the word secret weapon, crazy enough, it's not a player at all. It's actually Bears Vice President of Football Operations, Matt Feinstein. The guy's doing something unusual here. And what provoked this, you guys have all heard this quote and laughed about it, but I'm going to get to it here. It's the show of frustration by Lions receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I'm going to read this without the profanity, but Amon-Ra just kind of went off on his podcast. I feel like the Bears have unlimited money. And this is just on his podcast. This stuff is crazy. They're just signing new stuff for like 40 to 50 million. Joe Thuney, boom. Jonah Jackson, bang. Drew Dahlman, bang. Dio Bango, another crazy amount of money. Grady Jarrett, bang. They're just breaking everybody off. They have unlimited money. What the F is this? Ben is just making moves left and right. I mean, this quote is funny, but it's also saying that the Bears are doing something completely unusual. And whenever GM Ryan Poles, whenever he meets with the Halas Hall media, he seems to have compliments for his secret weapon. And that guy is, once again, that Chicago Bears contract cap guy. Now he's the vice president of football administration. It's Matt Feinstein, and he was credited with helping in the recent spending spree that Chicago just did that got St. Brown's notice. So this is straight from our GM. Like I mentioned, with the salary cap and the finance part of it, we have the flexibility to do that. And so much of that has to do with how well Matt Feinstein has structured everything to allow us to really jump on opportunities. Like, I'm going to get into the brilliant way these new contracts are structured too. And I mean, it's really different. But here's the thing too. The Bears are also being very disciplined and sticking to a plan. I mean, if you look at the contracts of Dahlman, Jackson, Dale, Jarrett, and Thuney, he's soon going to get his done to match these. The concentration are on these next 2 years without breaking the bank and a flexible, non-guaranteed third year. That pattern's obvious, but they also coincide with one thing, and it coincides with Caleb's contract and when they have to pay him big money after year 4. It also shows team discipline. So many teams seem to have a plan and then they get off the rails. Like, we could have gone, something shiny, made the big splash signing with Trey Hendrickson, give up a ton of draft capital, a ton of money. Instead, this disciplined approach was used to match up with Caleb's when he's going to get paid. It shows that the Bears are in a win now mode, but also they're setting themselves up to be permanently competitive. And Feinstein has done such a good job with this. I mean, sure, they're paying these players pretty nice money, but it buys time to use these draft picks. We kept our draft picks. We've got all these picks at the beginning of the draft. We've got our first rounder. We've got 2 early seconds. We've got our third. We kept those intact. So smart not to trade those away for somebody like Trey Hendrickson. And it's to get this blue chip talent behind these guys, these new offensive line players, these new defensive trench players. So when Caleb gets paid, they aren't hamstrung, and the talent's there to take over for the high-priced talent. We're not going to end up like the Cincinnati Bengals. And there's a concrete plan, and the Bears are being disciplined to follow it. There's also the way they're structured right now, and I'm going to get to that now, as well as how that's super smart. Feinstein is such an asset, and his touch has helped him accomplish bringing in these 3 higher-priced free agents, these 3, and also these 2 higher-priced players via trade. And now this last like cherry on the sundae, I can't believe we were able to grab this player when he became available due to this flexibility provided by the work of Feinstein. And that's when we got Grady Jarrett. And we've been able to afford these because the cap is maneuvered in a special way in year 1. And this season, Jarrett's contract is typical of what Feinstein is doing. It's structured to avoid an immediate cap hit and also done in a way that it won't mess up the cap in the future. So let's kind of look at this. Jarrett's projected cap hits are $7 million, $19 million, and $16 million. So his cap hit is only $7 million this year, and that made it possible for the Bears to get in the signing and some others about $10 million left in the cap after all of this work. Now that includes $4 million in prorated signing bonus each of the 3 years of the deal. This gets a little boring. Only a guaranteed $2.25 million in salary cap this year, and that's via Spot Track. Spot Track's also saying that this Jarrett contract, it's different than these other new signings. It's actually backloaded, but the Bears are protecting their salary cap because it's hit that actually these last 2 years are voidable years. So if something goes south or the Bears are in a situation that they don't want to pay Jarrett or his age shows, they can get out of this contract even after year 2 with minimal dead cap incurred. And this is also showing what the Bears have done, complete teardown, kind of the end of building this up for this upcoming year. The Bears only have $3 million in dead cap hit right now. That's number 2 in the NFL. I think the Steelers are number 1. They're under $1 million in dead cap space. It's just really brilliant. That's such a waste of money, and it's a way that you can hamstring your future. So let's kind of look at this a little bit. So together, Jarrett and Deo Obango, I'm trying to avoid saying his last name, but I know how to pronounce it. They account for less than $15 million in cap space this year, and the cap's going to get hit harder in the future, and the $19 million in cap space is big to use on Jarrett next year, but I've already illustrated the ability to get out of that. And the 2027 hit of $16.75 million, that's way less ominous because we're considering $11.7 million of that is in straight cash. So there's $12.75 million in cap savings with $4 million dead cap if something happens that he's released. It's just structured so well. So we're able to work in a way that it's like St. Brown is complaining about, that it looks like we just have unlimited money. We're just handing out contracts left and right. And the end result of this deal from overthecap.com is posting all of these moves, and the Bears still have $10.5 million in cap space. And yes, that's the 26th most available. And also it's effective cap space, which means it includes the projected rookie class total into that. So really good shape. The Bears can still make a couple little moves here and there. And we are set up so nicely, not only to win now, but also set up to have a healthy cap in the future and be able to be a permanently competitive team. Matched up perfectly. We have some higher price talent. Nobody reset the market. Nobody's breaking the bank. And we're just in a situation that we can use these draft picks to get young talent on the team. Best talent available too, by the way. So we have guys that are ready to take over when Caleb's got to be paid, and we can just put the next wave of guys in. I mean, that's what good teams do. This is unique for the Bears. Feinstein's a little bit of a secret weapon because he's done all this maneuvering in the background, and I can't say enough about how this has been handled, and we've got a bright future not only in this upcoming year, but we're never going to be I keep using the Cincinnati Bengals as an example. We're never going to be a team that's so cash-strapped that we're waiting till the last minute, like what Dallas does, to sign our players because we haven't managed the cap well. We're worried about freeing up just enough space to sign our players. Like the Bears are not doing that. This teardown and rebuild has been done so well. And say what you will about Ryan Poles, but one thing that he has done so very well is manage our cap. I think he's the best in the business at doing it. And now we're seeing personnel moves happening differently. We're seeing different types of players brought in because I think so much of it is that he's working in tandem with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's having a huge say in especially how this offensive line is structured. And I think it's going to be a really good partnership, and it's kind of starting to follow what a lot of teams are doing. Having the coach take the lead in a lot of these transactions and a lot of these player wants, and the GM doing his functional job and actually going out and getting these deals done, negotiating in a just a really astute way. And I think that's kind of the power shift that's happening in Halas Hall, and I think it's a fantastic one. You guys let me know as usual. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. It's a huge blessing, and I'll break this down in the comments with you as well. Bear down, and we'll talk soon.